let's get started. Um, like always, none of this is financial advice. Always do what's best for you. Just use this for your education and entertainment purposes. I just wanted to get another live stream in, see who we get as the futures open up. Let's see, I'll just start with the comments. Don, I'll start with yours. LNTH, STRL. All right, let's just jump into those questions and we'll go right from there. LNTH, and then STRL. Okay, so let's take a look. So, you know, just like it looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right up. But you see it never took that peak out here. And then this RSI low is lower than this low. So my guess is it's actually like a 1, 2 kind of setup. I think it's something a little more bullish. So I would probably call it something like, you know, 1, 2. Let's take a look what this is. Interesting. I'm just trying to find where we are in this cycle here. So we came through with the bullish divergence here. So I think you have to say that this is another 1, 2 right here. Another 1, 2. And then with this failure here, I wonder if we're going to do a bigger flat, and this is going to come down, take out these peaks, but respect that low, and then 2 trades more sideways. But yeah, tough to say because I don't like how this bottomed here. Let's take a look. It does support this more bullish view though. It's just this bottom is no good. Yeah, this is see, it doesn't really ever get the divergence erased here. So could this be some kind of flat correction? Yeah, that's probably what I would do. Looking at it, is some kind of flat correction here. And then it's coming out. It looks like it's this cycle's over in a really shallow 2. So that would be expected if we're about to go into 3 of 3, right? So if this is a shallow 2, then because if you look, we've burned a lot of this is the daily cycle. The daily cycle, look at the price is barely dropped, but look at the RSI burn. So somebody wants this bad. Somebody is buying this up. So we could still be in 2 as this capitulates lower. Possibly we fill this gap, but I think this is a more bullish chart in this 1, 2, 1, 2 setup. And then we'll see what happens and what do these guys do? What sector are they in? Some kind of medicine. All right. Then let's go to STRL. It definitely looks like a wave 3. Looks like could be a 5th wave that's about to end. Yeah, so this one's got more danger signs. But let's just go through the count just to verify everything. 1. Actually, the 3 is here. Yeah, it's a danger for collapse. See that? It's a danger. It's danger, danger. That's the count. Now, it can always extend as this pulls back, but it would expect it to pull back to 91. So I think it looks like to me the cycle, this is the weekly cycle. We're about to break down. We haven't got that confirmation yet, but when that line breaks, then I believe you have the top is in, and the weekly cycle is going to have to go all the way down. So it's going to be a bear market. It's going into a bear market. That's what this is telling me. It's going into a bear market. All right. Thanks for the couple oh, no super chat. That's right, Don. So I appreciate the symbols. We'll just go into everyone's questions. Mitso, Zoom and Pizza, Zoom. I don't like buying Zoom video because of the technical break. But I know a lot of people have hope, right? Hope, but hope is a bad thing to have as a trader. It is, but again, it could be a good short opportunity. We have to wait and see. So this bounce, let's see. Let's go to the weekly cycle. So it's obvious that this bounce here, you know, that's it. I mean, could this is a whole new cycle. This is a connector. So I put a 4 and a 5 here, but this is really a connector. Whatever this is a connector. So it's starting a fresh leg lower. So I would just, I mean, Zoom is really, I would just look at it as a 1-2, 1-2, and it's ready for a waterfall sell-off. A waterfall sell-off is what it's setting itself up for. That's the count. Yeah, pretty bearish, right? But that's to be expected given given where it's got to go to. And then pizza is Papa John's. So we have this 4 wave. It looks like we're trying to do that here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, so it's just got looking for 32. So this 4 should be ready to fail. But see, if you look at that swing, so perhaps the 4 bounces a little bit more, but I believe we're in this 4 wave. Let's go to Mara. Mara. So I have this in the final leg lower. You know, but if Bitcoin's bottomed, the likelihood of this happening is not likely. It's a lot more likely that X will continue to extend higher. So that's what I would project, given also what we saw in Riot, yesterday's live stream. So I would just say this is a connector, and we'll take another swing higher. That's how I would look at it. So I still think it's going to continue to extend higher, and it will make it up to these areas here. So this looks like a connector, and it will swing up. As long as this low holds at 1760, it should go higher. I do have a request. I was asked to do is ICU. I think that's the stock ICU. Okay, so ICU, looks like we predicted this 4 wave. Typically the 4 wave will stop or will not overlap here at 8:30, so it should be ready to reverse in wave 5 if we get that. But let's look at the intensity of this bounce. So you could see here, this is a very intense bounce. We also only have 1, 2, 3 waves and 3 waves. So this is a corrective structure. So I actually think we're in a flat. So this is a flat. So we're going to change the count on this to represent a flat, given how strong that forward we bounced, how strong it bounced. And so with a flat, we should rip higher, back up to $42. So that's what I would expect will happen. And then there'll be another catastrophe in this stock as it rug pulls. But that's what I'd be looking for. So I would be buying the dips and bullish against 323 because of the intensity of the bounce. You see, it's too intense. It's in a flat. See, so this will need an impulse up. So that was ICU by request. Oh, hey, it looks like I got a super chat from Crypto Mickey. Yeah, no, that's fine. Just whatever you feel you can give. I never, ask for a lot or anything. I just do, what people, if I make you a lot of money, that's fine. I've had people give me, I think one time I got like $100. Someone said I made them like $5,000, and that's cool. But I get it. Some people, need more money, don't have it. It's fine. That's why I did this channel. I started for free, essentially, to just help as many people as possible. Because they were being taken to the cleaners and lead in by a lot of frauds and like people that don't know what they're doing on the internet. I just got sick of people and it's usually the ones just buy calls. And I mean, guys, that works, but we were going into a bear market in 2022, 28, and 21. And I just couldn't see, so I started my channel to warn people, and it really did work out, because we were shorted the Santa rally in December 21 on my channel, shorting hard. I must have had $100,000 in TZA shorting the Russell. I must have had at least that. So that's how short. So I can be a bear, guys, but it's not time to do that. So you get a lot of people, and right now you see a lot of bears, right, saying it's going to crash. And I think that's the wrong move as well. I think it's going to go up pump. And then there'll be a crash, but they won't be calling for a crash. They'll be calling for another, Santa rally or whatever it is. President rally, Trump rally, he won, whatever the rally. But we'll have another opportunity to go max short. But not right now. So Bitcoin, I still look at this as 3 waves up. And it is kind of optimistic, right? And again, the Elliott wave isn't like a gospel. It isn't like holy scripture, but it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it doesn't look like 3. So, and this looks like a flat, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, we got the 5. Right, when we were up here earlier this afternoon, I was like, oh, we're going to get a dump to finish the flat. And I was praying we would hold this technically, and we did. So I think this is like a do or die level, or we could go all the way down to like 60,000. So I think we got to really hold this wedge. Like we're in this wedge, right? This wedge. Everyone loves wedges, bullish wedges. I mean, you've got multiple taps on the wedge, right? And I could probably even squeeze it, try to get that wick in. But look, we want to break out of this, and I think we're going to. So we want to stay in this wedge, but it was close call. I think we got a flat correction here. Of some kind. Let's see here. We have to go to the really short time frames. Let's see if we can try to find it if we have one. So there's your wick. So there's your 3, 4, and there's your 5 with your divergence. You had to really go to a short time frame to see it. So we could still be in wave 5. I guess we got to be careful. We could still be in wave 5. We could still be in wave 5, but we need 63.5 to hold. We need 63.5 to hold. But I think this is how I would look at it. But you'll have to do what's best for you. I don't like selling crypto. Also, supporting crypto is the dollar index. The dollar index should be getting strong sellers to come in if they haven't already at any moment for either a big drop before we get a really big pump out and negate some of our charts, or it's just going to get wave 3 of 3. Bam. So Bitcoin will love that. Then precious metals is going to love this. If this dollar chart plays out like I have it, and I still think it will, you just have to be patient. And we saw it with the 10-year. We had to be patient, right? We had to be patient here and here, but we won that battle. TMF, we made good money on TMF, and I'm still holding TMF. So this is a game of patience. And I think the dollar index is just trying to test your patience as a trader, and it's doing it through crypto and precious metals, as people right now are probably just giving it up, thinking, oh, it's going to go lower, I'll buy back later, or oh my God, it's going to crash, and then it's going to have a massive rip higher. And then everyone's going to have to chase it because they tried to get too cute with their entry, or they were, they didn't have strong hands. So that's how I look at Bitcoin in the overall market view. All right, let's go to the next set of questions. Lab Up. Let's look at Lab Up. I think we looked at that last week. I believe Lab Up likes to also kind of mirror the Russell index to some extent. There you go. The series of flats, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is too tight to see it. I won't go into the shorter time frame, but that's how I'd look at this. Just like the Russell, should be breaking out. Should be breaking out. And again, we had the buy here, guys. We had the buy area here. So that worked out so far. So far, so good in Lab Up. I would like to see what individual stocks are in the that represent not the triple ETF, but whatever ETF this mirrors. Maybe it's there's what's that biotech? There's a biotech that everybody likes to pump on CNBC. I can't. I think I have it here. Let's see. Let me find it. Is it XBI yet? XBI. So go into the XBI. I'd like to go into XBI and maybe pick out a couple individual stocks, and then we could try to play it alongside that way. Just because they all benefit. And see, this is kind of like the same chart, right? The XBI, Lab Up and XBI is like the same. It's like the same thing, right? But obviously one's going to give you more, leverage. If this is a wave 3 of 3, so you want to play Lab Up. Yeah, so Lab Up might be a good one for next couple weeks to get in. OCGN, let's take a look at that. OCGN. Let's see here. So we had this bullish count, and it looked like it turned into another flat correction. Let's see. Nope, it's still in this wave too. So we only got 3 waves out of it. So we're looking for a wave 2 to continue. But the good thing is it will be a shallow buy area, but it would be a high confidence buy. Back down at 109. Essentially a double bottom play. Something like that. Something like that. 1, 2. Yeah, it needs more downside. And then that's it. Okay, so let's go to DAV, Grand Super Cycle bottom. Let's see. It's in the buy area. Damn. What happened here? You know, this is, you have to back into the low, right? You have to back into the low almost. So to me, this looks like a three-wave move. We need to go to a higher time frame and see. That's great. You see how there's no divergence there at that peak, and we just look, we see how we're coming out of it, and we broke that pivot there. We broke the downtrend. So yeah, I think it has bottomed in this grand super cycle. This is an important low because of the bounce, because of this bounce right here, this turn. So yeah, and given where it is and the distance, so I think that's it. Whatever this company does is about to take off. What do these guys do? Some technology services. UK, a UK company. It's a pretty bad retrace. I don't know why it's so bearish. Like what happened here, but this technically looks okay. All right, Fraser, how you doing? Peter, let's go to KAPR. So we always have to start with the highest time frame that we can see just to get our bearings. So obviously it's in a bear market since it's a very existent. So there's no reason to think it won't continue lower. So this is a nice bounce off the low. We want to see if we see 5 waves or not off the low. So you see how we broke that high here? Yeah, it's got one more swing higher, but it's a corrective structure. I wouldn't fall in love with it, but I think I'll do something like that. I mean, it could still even be in B. It's in some massive sideways move, but I believe wave B will end. This will eventually end. And again, it could have ended here from the RSI point of view. I could barely get a 5th wave out. I can force a 5th wave here. So if this is this will impulse out. So if that's the case, we'll be in wave 1. We're in 2. We'll get 3, 4, 5. So this is a very risky buy opportunity, but there is an opportunity that you could try to take at 396 with your stop loss at 271. And then I would look for the pump out, and then I would dump it. I would dump it. Let it pump out, and then dump it. And then walk away with the money, because this will then just go all the way down again. So that's what I look for. Do what's best for you. All right, Mark V, thanks. Hey, man, appreciate $30. It's good to see you, too. Yeah, I'm trying to, I'm back to my normal schedule. I can, do more live streams. So I try to do one on the weekend, one during futures is good for me, but not all the time I can do that. All right, so some ASX stocks, we can go back and let's take a look at those. AAE at the ASX, and then we have CKA And then we have DGII. It looks like we've done that one already. Okay, so AEE. Again, kind of like our last stock. Been a bear market since it's existed, but you have a three-wave move. And then it looks like a 4 and a 5 here. Let's take a look. We got to go to a weekly time frame. Huh. Interesting. You see, we erased divergence on this low, basically. And then you have a bounce here and a bounce there. So it's actually a triple corrective structure. So, you know, in my opinion, it would become like a triple. So I would expect at least another swing higher. I would expect another swing higher. Let's look at just like the other stock we looked at. We have 5 waves with the divergence. So yeah, I believe we'll have at least one more swing higher. So we'll just call this like an A, B, C for now. So now the question is where does this end? If it's a flat, it's going to come back all the way down to fill the gap but respect the low, or it could even break the low partially. If it's not a flat, then the bottom is in. The RSI doesn't support that. Like, let's go to the weekly. Yeah, so it supports more downside is coming, which implies a flat correction, which implies I would be expecting it to come back down to this area. But since it's in a corrective structure, could even break this low, only to surge back later. So it's a tough chart. That's a tough one. CKA. All right, so this is a little different. Looks like 5 down, but again, we have to go to a different time frame because there's not enough data. So yeah, there's our 5 down. So we have 5 down here, with that being your low, and this looks like a 1, 2, looks like 5 up. So we need another swing higher. So I'd be looking again for another swing higher. The question is, and as again, you see the divergence, so it's the 5th wave. So the question is where are we in this B wave? We did break divergence, so more than likely that low's in, and we're about to build higher. And it does look that way. It looks like we broke this down through this cycle here. So to me, it looks like this should continue higher in the next leg higher. And DGII is an old one I think we've charted before. We called this flat. It looks like it worked out perfectly. We're in the buy area. This looks like 5 up, and it's a double bottom. This is like a buy right here, right now, against 2134. It's a huge reward, very low risk trade right now. So this is a really good trade setup. But you'll have to do what's best for you. But I would just keep your stop loss there and then just see what happens. You already got the bullish engulfing candle on the weekly, so it's more than likely it's going to go higher. And see you're curved up, you're turned up. So yeah, I think this one looks good. A lot better. So that should be coming out. Okay, thanks for the super chat. Super Twisk, I appreciate the 20, man. I'm glad I inspired you. Like the same people that I watched many years ago inspired me to pick up on some of this stuff. Because I did not, I used to do heavy calls and puts back in, the 2015 to 18 period. And if I would have known a lot more back then than I did now, I probably would be millionaire retired by now. But that's okay. But hopefully you'll learn because if we are going into a really big swing in small caps and some things, there is a lot of money to be made coming up. You know, the real money's made in the bull markets, guys. I mean, yeah, some people can make money short in it, but short in is usually choppy, overlap. You have to trade in and out. You have to take your profit. You can't really hold things too long. Bull market's a little different, and your profits compound, and that's how you can get you know, really big gains fast. So appreciate the 20. And I don't see a question, so we're good. All right, so let's go back to the top of the list. Solana and gold. Let's look at Solana. So Solana is one we haven't looked at in a while. Let's just see how our chart's doing. I'm sure it's probably being impacted from Bitcoin. So we predicted this C wave and we got it. So look, it's just playing out. Everything's working per plan. We're looking for this wave 4 cluster. So we're looking for $94, $96. But we have, now that we have a turn, we can really pinpoint an entry. And I love this wave structure. It's a nice, beautiful 3-wave move that's setting up. So that actually gets us right to 89.22. I would be looking for 90 bucks. 90 bucks, right in this area is what I would want to see. And that could be a major cycle low for 2, right from the bottom. 1, 2, and out. And we've owned this coin, guys. We've owned Solana on my channel. We actually called that short here back. You see, April 22. We were shorting. See, Elliott Wave Sage is bearish. We did short that. That was the easiest short in the world because, one, it was a back test of this neckline, and we had a 3-wave move. But we called the short, and then we saw this bottom here in the count. And I think I've gave people, like, I'm like, hey, if you want to buy this, you can buy it at $9. But I was like, God knows, like, why it would go up, but the technicals did, and it sure as heck went up, and now it's supported. So this is good to buy here if we get this pullback. Let's look at some of the RSIs just to make sure. Yeah, see, we're about to race divergence. Just be careful that this doesn't truncate, and so you got to understand this could truncate. It may not make it all the way down, but you know, as long as it could break 107, that would be good. So gold, guys, is trading based where the dollar index wants to go. Okay, so we're in this 4-wave. So this 4 can extend down to 22,000. It still can do that technically, right? We have 3 down and a connector, right? Really a connector. So, but to get down to this level, the dollar index really needs to, I think, have more upside. But I think the dollar index is running out of time and space on the upside. So, and then if you look, here's the wave 2 it's matched against. This would be too big, right? Too big. So I put it there for now. I'd rather be more bullish than bearish, and then you just have to go back and look and go, well, this looks like 3 waves, but maybe it isn't. Let's go to a shorter time frame and see if there's clues from the wave structure. We'll see this peak right here. Then you have all this bearish divergences. So maybe it's turning into like a flat of some kind, a flat, right? I don't know. Let's see. Could that be the peak? And you have an A, a B, and a C. Yeah, it's probably, we could do that, right? I could probably force a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an A, B, C, and maybe a run-in flat. So this structure is really weird. And then also, even here, you have bearish divergence. So the 4 and 5 could even be right here. So we could still have an impulse. It's just like, that's why I'm like, I don't have this labeled. So I don't like to sell gold. I'm in all my gold trades. I don't want to sell it, and I only want to buy it. So the best thing to be is on the sidelines here. Sidelines. If it drops, great, buy it. If it breaks this peak, then it's clear the wave's in, and it's going into wave 5. But as you know, with Nvidia, wave 5s can turn into wave 3s, right? This could become another 1, 2, and just extend and melt up even more. So, but for now, the conservative count is a 5. Okay, so let's go to the next one's aluminum. Well, that's a new one. I don't know if anyone's asked about aluminum before. I do have the aluminum futures on here. How much price data do we have? Okay, we've got enough here to look at it. Three waves down, right? And then this, too big for a flat. Yeah, see, we have to go to damn, what a pump there. So here, see, there's no divergence. That's like typical of a wave 5 top in commodities. So yeah, so it's correct in the grand supercycle. So now we just have to let this thing play out. Now see the wave 4 here, it's finding buyers. Yeah, I mean, there's your connector, and it's very shallow bottom, and it held. So it's a very what happened with what happened in August 23 that made aluminum go so like changed its nature character, because it looks like the correction ended in August 23 and it had a severe truncation. So there must have been some legislation or something happened fundamentally that people are like, holy shit, I need to go buy aluminum right now. And it's so yeah, I think it's in a new bull market, man. It's going to enter another parabolic cycle. And I haven't looked at this yet, but that's how I'd look at aluminum. The first looks like the first wave off the low, where we're in a wave, some kind of wave 4 right now, like maybe gold's in, right? So yeah, I would be looking for it off this low, right? Aluminum, and just extends higher, unless it becomes another 1-2-1-2 setup. But yeah, whatever, some news must have hit here that made it super bullish. That like, I don't know, like if legislation was passed last summer or something that made it bullish or what, but it stopped the decline in its tracks. Whatever happened there, because this should have extended a little bit more like that, but it didn't. Okay, so let's go to Team and Neo. Team. Let's see here. Request it. See if we have a team. It's a new one. Atlassian. Clearly, that's one. And now the question is that finished at this low? Doesn't look good. But let's go to the monthly. You do have a little bit of bullish divergence at that peak right here. So I would say, yeah, I would say it's a truncation. I would look at it as like a 1, 2, and then a 1, 2. And it actually looks like it's close to finishing the correction. There's your connector. And it was 150.80. It's already reversed. So more than likely, I bet that two's in. If not, it could drop just a little bit more. But there's your buy area. and you'll have to do what's best for you, but I think it's bullish coming out. And what do these guys do? I'm just curious. Software development. All right, Neo. Oh, different. NEO. Neo. All right, let's take a look. Damn. We'll just have to ignore that. I mean, we'll just assume this is some kind of impulse out of the low. I'm sure there's bearish divergence, or maybe not. There's none. So I would be really careful that it's not in a new bear cycle lower. And then you had an A down, A, right? This is A. B, and now you need C. Yeah, I would be expecting more downside, possibly even waterfall selling soon. The only way to negate that view is if this peak is taken out. Yeah, be really careful. It could be in a 1-2-1-2 setup to the downside. Could be ready for some water, like I said, waterfall sell-off coming. All right. I'll just kind of keep going through the questions. I'll stay on for about an hour. EL. Let's look at EL. Estee Lauder. Not sure if we've done that. Okay, so we had the buy area here at 97 and it hit 102, so I think that it's clear that that's finished. We were looking for a more bullish setup, but it just looks like it's in a wave 1. It looks like it peaked here on that wick on this wave 2. So as long as it stays above 102.59, this wave 2 should be over at any moment. If it doesn't happen, this could turn into a triple. So the new target would be 90, 83, 69, 52. But we would want to see divergence erase. You see how this is capitulation? Yeah, for it to be a triple, this would have to come down into this area and actually take out that peak, this peak in divergence. If it could do those three, if it could drop into like say 82.79 and take this peak out, then I would be interested in buying it. But if neither of those happen or only one, then I still would avoid it because this could be a shallow connector, and then it could be like a lights out move in the company. So it's really important for it to hold this level at 101.79. But I'll leave this here just in case. It actually looks like this little bit, the wicks here. So if the wicks here, then it actually supports a triple. So just looking at it this way, I wouldn't be surprised to see it drop a little more and again, more downside into this area. But it's tough. Yeah, see, because I don't really see 5 waves here. I can't even force it. So given that it's just 3, unless it's a flat, but even if it's a flat, that's a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. It would still go down, so it's still not enough. So I would just, I would expect it to go lower into this area, and then if it could stay and support it and erase the divergence, then I would say it could be a buy. Okay, let's go to Snowflake. Snowflake is got more downside, I believe. but it could become a really good long-term opportunity soon. I know it was a loved stock on its IPO, and just hasn't been behaving. Because they're like, AI is going to make snow obsolete, what they do. I don't know. So we've had this buy area for almost maybe over a year, $91. So there's really no reason to change that view. It looks like to me you've got some kind of wave 2 here of something, you know. But I would be interested in buying it here. And bigger picture on snow is it's a flat, an ABC, and we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, we need 5. And we actually want bullish divergence here. We want to see some bullish divergence on the monthly time frame when we come down to this area. Okay, let's kind of keep going. GameStop, AMC. So yeah, GameStop. What's it trading on Robinhood now? Let me go take a peek at that. If I think doesn't Robinhood do the 24/7 trading? GameStop, I think needs it really needs Russell to get going. The Russell really needs to help GameStop. Let's see. So it's down a little bit after hours. So GameStop, to me, for now it's the account. Calling this some kind of triple correction as long as 2283 holds. And if you look at the IWM, we should be ready to go into 3. So like as long as this holds. So you see the IWM is looking over a cliff, and so is GME. But there's an alternative where there's no cliff. It's a massive wave 3. So it's a very big move is going to happen. But if the move is capitulation, I would be expecting it to hit 2054, 1938 area, and then this wave 2 will come here. This would become an A, B, C correction, and then it will find support and it will rally out. That's what I would expect would happen. And the IWM more than likely would take a dump and take another leg lower down to 193, 94, and 2 would extend lower. That's how I look at this. That's how I look at it. And we just have to be patient. I mean, but like monthly cycle and GME, clearly we're in a new monthly cycle higher. We're just starting. I do believe this will come up into the overbought area before we have to worry about peaks. How's the weekly doing? So the weekly did hit, just like it hit here, and it reversed. But look what the back there was $3, and what was still yet to come, right? So that doesn't really mean anything. So we got the peak and the pullback. Here's your peak and the pullback, and then you found support on that pivot, and now you're about to find support on that pivot. So it's just setting up almost a replica of this top-end pattern. And so this is October through January. So this was probably 3 months or so. So it's June, July, August, so about September. And that actually lines up. You see this line I have here, September. That's around the time I think the pump peak will happen. And that actually lines up with how it peaked against the correlation with the Russell. And it just correlates also with the RSI, just coincidentally. So now you have 2 things lining up. So are we looking at so you may be looking at a pump in small caps all the way into September, and then the shit tops out for a while again. Or we go into a bear market in the Russell where we hit the sell area, which I still have here. So we don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see what the future holds. AMC is just kind of following the same path, like an analog, but it's not as bullish, but it's still a lot of money to be made in it. So the AMC trade already, let's take a look here. Looks like it already broke down. We're racing divergence. So here you have 3 for W, X, and now you need Y. So there's your W, there's your X, and then there's your AB, 1, 2, 1, 2. So you have, looks like your first 4. So it looks like it should go one more swing lower. Ideally, the buy would be 438, but it looks like it needs just a little more downside, and it may possibly fill this gap. That's what I'm looking for, something like that. And I just did that real quick. FFIE. What is that one? I've seen that symbol before. I think I'll remember it when is it that Faraday? Yeah, that Faraday one. Let's take a look. Wow. What a collapse. All right, so let's just assume it's an impulse, it's bullish. There's your connector wave. All right, so we'll have to use a different method. So there's your area of accumulation right here. So it's in the buy area it's being, obviously, look, it's being accumulated. You know what I mean? It's being accumulated. But now we need to look at the structure and see if it has another leg lower. So no divergence here. And then did we take that low out? We took that low out here. So it's taken another swing lower. So yeah, now to pinpoint your entry, you could look for this area. And something like that. I think it has more downside. But see, this is 5 down already. Yeah, you had the bullish diverge, so this is 5 down. It actually could have truncated here. You could actually call this finished here, but I wouldn't be surprised to see another sling lower. But it's very, very difficult because you could have a 1, 2, and then come down like that, or it could be 2 here, or it's already finished and it's about to vertical. So I would be looking for if this trend line breaks, then I would call the low in. If we respect it, then of course it's going to be more downside in a wave 3 of C leg, where you do something like this. Okay, that's how I look at that. This is probably what you're going to get with this. All right, I'm going to stay on for about another 5 minutes. I'm just going to kind of read through things. So if I have the chart, I'll do it. October 22 bottom, indices raised divergence. Yeah, you know, that was why it was very a confusing time in the market, because that divergence wasn't erased, which is why I wasn't that bullish at the bottom, right? Because it had a very unorthodox bottom that's typical of a flat correction. But clearly we don't have a flat, right? I mean, we've bounced way too high. So this is where sometimes I would like to say, like, let's go back to the daily here. So obviously it's not flat. So yeah, you had this this right here, right? Very short, very truncated move down, right? And you had divergence here on the daily and on the weekly. So you look at that and go, this did not look like a good bottom, right? It looked like a suspect bottom, again, based on the system. my system, right? So typically when you get a bottom like this, you normally fail. That's why back here we were so bearish, because this would have been the point to fail, right around here, but it didn't fail, right? So the only other thing I can think of is we're not looking at a high enough degree time frame, right? So I have to go, if I go to the weekly, right? The weekly is the weekly shows the divergence. If I go to the monthly, let's see here. It doesn't. I think it, yeah, barely shows the divergence. And then if I go to the quarterly, there's no divergence. I don't think. Yeah, you see, there's still a little bit. Yeah, I think this is where the system, I guess, looking back and trying to like analyze the chart and looking at the system, is that this must be a much higher degree low in the grand super cycle. That's the only thing I can think of, because eventually there won't be divergence, right? So that means this may be a cycle low. So you even have it here. So I don't know. I guess I need more time to think about it, and maybe the market's just so bullish, right? So bullish it just negated the system that typically works, that usually works, but that's just the way it goes, right? It's just the way it goes. I do think looking at this here, you have to call this like a W. This looks like 5 down here, right? And this looks like some kind of three-wave move. Looks like some kind of 3, 3. So you have 5. Yeah, maybe it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an ABC. That's really the only thing you could do. You could say it's like an ABC. But the C needed, we wanted to see the C go a little lower. There is a chance maybe we don't have all the price data. I do remember at the time there were some ghost wicks that people were talking about, that people got filled at 320. So maybe again, TradingView doesn't have all the data. Maybe there is some dark pool print somewhere we're missing that got filled down here. I don't know. It's hard to explain it, but that's why it was so I was so cautious on this pump, on these moves. Even though we did get in tech, but this is why we really needed to be cautious here on this pullback, because we could have done a flat, and if we did a flat, then we'd have been in a lot of trouble, right? If we did a flat, we'd have been in a lot of trouble, so that's why you had to be careful. But then once we got the long signal here, we've been long ever since. So I think this is an anomaly in the market that just I've not seen happen typically, but I guess you have to, this is where I always say you got to do best for you. I definitely was not buying it here, but I was a buyer of tech when we broke this downtrend line. See, I had this downtrend line, and you go back to my videos. When we broke out of this here, right there, we broke out. I called my friends, the people that don't follow the stock. I was like, go into growth funds, go buy tech. It's over, because to me, this one had a better look to me, and then you had the other stocks running. So. And then this is where I got all the hate mail, guys. I got a lot of hate mail here. Like, people were like so mad. Like, people like wanted to hurt Elliott Wave Sage here, because I think I was giving the answers to the test. I think I was telling people to go long, and they were like, shut up. Don't tell them that. We need them to short still, because we're trying to accumulate. So I don't know what I've never seen the market so like hostile to me when I was saying go long tech here. The same idiots that were saying a crash, right? So we went long tech, and then I think we took profit somewhere around here, and then of course it went up, and we pulled back and up, and now we're back in on it. But to me, this this was the cycle break. So I guess from the same point of view, you could have done that with the SPY and bought it at 414 and then held through this March volatility event and then wrote it. But yeah, I guess looking back at it, there's really no way to explain it. I think no system's 100%, no system's perfect. I think that's the way to explain it. Because if it was perfect, then you know, everyone, I could just create a computer program to do what I'm doing, and I'll be a billionaire, right? So it's not, nothing's ever perfect. But that's how I look at this. But yeah, it's just, it is what it is. It truncated. It was so bullish. It was, people just couldn't help themselves, or or missing data. Anyway, that's all I can say about that. I'm just going to keep looking. Coinbase, Plug and Fuel. So Plug Power, again, it's all about the Russell. If I can get that Russell to move, Plug Power is bottomed. Plug Power is going to bottom and turn higher. So it's all about the Russell. mRNA, I think I had that buy at mRNA I showed earlier. Let's see here. mRNA. mRNA is another stock we've owned. So I had to buy at 127. I think it's probably over already. I'm already seeing a lot of healthcare stocks running. But we need this downtrend line to break for confirmation. So until that line breaks, just in case if it decides to go lower, this is the buy area in this area. So it still can hit 127, 120. Yeah, we've done good in this one, right? Called this buy area. We called it again here, here, here. So it's mRNA is behaving really nicely, but it should be in a wave 5, unless it's another 1-2 extension. If oil's going lower, like a recession, Tina May says, but then the rest of the market is so bullish. You know, I think I have finally a fundamental theory, because they're starting to drive this on the news, right? Mainstream media always plants these seeds with people to kind of explain what they either want to happen or trying to explain what they're seeing happen. They are saying that the market is pricing in already a Trump presidency. Trump is going to be drill baby drill. He's going to loosen regulations, and that's going to bring a lot of supply on the market and is going to drop the price. And they said that's why the commodity is weak. It's starting to anticipate his win, or a Republican win, and they're starting to price in lower oil as they go ahead and undo all the Biden oil restrictions. And it's drill, and you're seeing it with the oil services already starting to turn. So I believe that is the narrative the fundamental investor is latching onto. And then I'm sure there's also a recession underlying component, a demand component as well. So if you have lower demand and more supply, that's a perfect recipe for, like, you know, oil prices to go lower, right? And see that I just caught, you know, them saying that, and I was like, that's it. That is what people are thinking, because I was thinking the same thing. But that's how you do it, and that would explain why the Schlumbergers and stuff are starting to rally more. The OIH is all these things are rally, because they're getting ready for the day the market is already starting to price in Trump winning. And you know what he's going to do. It's going to be all about drilling oil, lower oil, you know, sweetheart deal with Russia again. Like, there is, you know, for all you know, the war with Russia will end overnight when he takes over. He'll just stop that shit. He'll call his pal Putin, and the shit's over. And then price of oil will go back down. Like, I think the market's like, holy shit, maybe that's all that's going to happen, and they're getting afraid of that. So I think that's why there's weakness, because it's like, maybe I'll just sit on the sidelines and see what happens, and then I'll be a buyer of oil until that happens. And then you do have the recession, like, factor, right? That's being pumped too, that we have this recession, you know, coming. So, oh, CRM. Yeah, I'll do CRM because I know people were getting beat up. I thought we needed one more low in CRM. If This still could be wave 4 because look at this wave 2. So we could still be in wave 4. I want to say it's over, but obviously, you know, if you had, you know, the guts, you could have bought it here, but I mean, it looks pretty likely you're gonna come back into this gap, and if you fill it, you're good. Now, if you can overlap 267, then more than likely that low's in. So I still look at this. I still look at it as a flat correction, but perhaps it's just 3 waves and the labeling is wrong. But technically, this is the Fibonacci area to buy it right here. So I still think this could happen, but I think it's just eventually it will end. I think the pain will end. You have this left shoulder, this head in some kind of right shoulder, and you will come out and will be $400 or $500 in the future at least. So you're just going to have to hold through this. I call this a run-in flat of some kind, or it's a 1-2, 1-2. If it's a 1-2, 1-2, it's already bottomed. So I wouldn't be bearish. I don't know if the software stocks could capitulate have another moment like they did when it reported earnings here. ICP. Yeah, someone asked me about ICP. Did I do ICP already? Did I already do ICP? I did ICU. I don't. Yeah, maybe it was ICP. I don't know. ICP. Oh, the crypto coin more than likely. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we can look at it real quick. I think that's why we did that yesterday in our live stream. I think. Oh no, that was something to get these weeks up. All right. So we called this, and this is exactly what we got, right? So there's really no change to this forecast. Everything is happening according to plan. Although that wave 3, let's try to label it better. That's not going to work. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm going to put the first 3 here, but it could actually still be in 3 of 3 to the downside. So as you can see, it's got a lot of 4s and 5s to play out. So it's just going to have more downside. It's just the way it goes. So I'm going to be wrapping up here. Nvidia. I said Nvidia is either in wave 2 of 5, or it's topped. It's topped out. Now, if it's topped out, that probably means, right, the market's topped out, right? Unless something crazy or some kind of crazy rotation out of Nvidia. But I don't think so. So I think we're going to get an extended 5th wave, or God forbid, this was another 1-2, 1-2, and it still goes parabolic even more. But if this cycle's over here, we're looking for 108 to 97, but it's going to take a while if the cycle's over. Now, if this cycle isn't over, then it would be just a super shallow wave 2, and that could be that. But so I don't know. Like, it's not enough data to analyze the correction. It's just started. So it could be at this higher degree correction, or it could be shallow and we just like continue to go vertical. I just think, though, I think there's more to go in wave 5. And there's already people like big money on TV. It's like, I've been waiting for a pullback. Thank God. I want to go long. So there's going to be a lot of money on the sidelines that missed the move that are going to be buying the dip. So this thing is not going to collapse. It's got a lot more dip buyers coming in. There's a lot of money that wants to come in that missed this move. So I would just expect this to either be shallow, or if it comes down to here, you definitely want to get a piece of that here. charted home prices. I chart my own personal prices. You know, I try to use my own like Z estimates and chart them. It actually works pretty well for Elliott waves if you do it right. A lot of housing markets are still showing we're like in some kind of fifth wave of a third wave, but some have clearly ended wave 3. So what it means is there'll be even higher prices yet to come in wave 5, right? So a lot of housing is in correction, right? I think I was reading Southeast, Austin, some areas. So that's wave 4, and then there should be one more push higher where the COVID or whatever previous highs we had will be taken out. And then when those highs are taken out, that would be the time to really dump property and get the hell out of Dodge, unless it extends, right? Unless it's another 1-2, right? But I do expect housing to stay supported, and I kept saying that. Everyone's like, I'm going to be Grant Cardone and I'm going to buy all of these houses when they crash like they did in 09. I'm like, dude, housing isn't going to crash. The cycle doesn't support it. That wave 2 in 2009 was a grand super cycle crash. That will never happen probably for a long time. We're in like a wave 3, but we're just in corrections now. So you're not going to get this super crash in housing, but you'll get corrections. So I do think you're getting some kind of wave 4 correction that you're in some markets, but some markets are still in a wave 5 of 3. They haven't like topped out, and they will correct and still go higher. So I still think my housing price forecast is still for more upside, even if it slows down this year into early next year. I still think there'll be more upside, and then there'll be a big pullback. It won't be as big as 09, but there'll be a pullback back to the wave 4 low, which is what we're in now. So the pullback's only going to come back to prices we've only saw recently. So people hoping for pre-COVID levels in home prices, people hoping for 2009, that shit ain't going to happen, guys. It's never coming back. That was a 3 of 3 breakout on housing prices. COVID was a 3 of 3 gap up and run. Those prices are never coming back there, guys. It's just not happening. So I wish I had better news for people that are, you know, in the market, but that's just the way it is. So you gotta you know, save your pennies in your piggy bank and get in the market, or buying houses maybe in the future be like buying yachts, right? Only the super rich or elite, and your grandkids will say, "Oh my God, Dad, you used to own 2 houses? Holy shit, how did you own? We have to rent a house with 3 other family, you know, now in the 100-year." Like, you know, so like I think, you know, we get, you know, we have to understand that maybe home ownership, while we think it's a right and a mandate, I think could be something that our great grandkids, you know, are like, wow, you used to live when everybody could get, you know, like bread for 5 cents. Everyone could buy a house. Holy shit. Well, those were the days, wasn't it? And I think that's what's going to happen, guys. That's sad, but that's what's going to happen. But that's how it is. But anyway, that's my housing take. Let's look at how the futures are doing real quick. Let's just see. You know, I do expect the Dow to have more downside on the short term. I do expect a move down, so I would expect weakness tomorrow morning, maybe morning, tomorrow all day. But I expect weakness in the Dow. How about the Nasdaq? Yeah, the Nasdaq too. Weakness. So I wouldn't be surprised to see weakness in the market. Now, the surprise would be if that's actually the low in the market here. That 2 is there. I don't think it is, but you know, we'll see with the futures. But if we could actually push higher and break this 545, 546, then the 2's in, and then we're actually going into a bigger. Then that negates that view. The Dow looks weak, right? This is 50-50. That looks like 5 of some kind, or yeah, so this looks like it needs more downside. The IWM Could do one more push down. Try to retest that low. And again, it doesn't have to do that. So we'll see how we open tomorrow morning. But that's what I'm looking at. And there's Bitcoin making that final fifth wave, right? Trying to finish this flat, but it needs to hold 63. So we're getting close, right? Getting close. That's a nail biter, right? It's a nail biter. So what happens if this fails? Then I would just expect a bigger capitulation, because look at this 4-hour cycle. You see this divergence. We could still see this drop, take this peak out, drop, and then come back up. Before only a computer would be able to get it. So maybe you could have like a bid, somewhere down at like, I don't know, 59,000. Just see if you get lucky, or maybe here, maybe at 60,000, and then it gets filled, and boom, you're back up to 64,000, and then this just goes and up, and then it's over. So just keep that in mind. That Bitcoin could try some kind of, move like that. Let's see the dollar. You see the dollar index, still needs a little more. So this is going to be selling pressure in the market. This is selling pressure. So yeah, there's still some selling pressure. Yeah, I mean, if the dollar index is going to fall like I have, that's inflation, right? And housing always goes up with inflation, right? It's always, what do they say? An inflation hedge, right? Inflation hedge. Home prices didn't collapse in the 1970s during that inflation, right? They don't. So housing is, if you want housing to collapse, you need unemployment, you need foreclosures to go up. That's your leading indicator. So watch the unemployment rate, watch foreclosure, but more importantly, foreclosure rate. Now those things start going parabolic or going higher, right? I think the foreclosure rate, you can't even see it on the graph. It's barely ticked up. Like in 2006, it was like, holy shit, it's going up. Like you could see it like going and higher and up. So you saw it coming. It was like leading indicator. There's no foreclosure, because guess what? Everyone that owns houses now is strong hands. They're not selling. They got low rates. They're institutions that loaded up in the bottom of 09. They'll never sell. There's been, BlackRock. They've been buying, the last 10 years homes. Those guys have got strong hands. They're not selling. They're not. So the foreclosure rate isn't there. And unemployment's at record lows. So without foreclosures, without unemployment, you're not going to get a housing price crash. It's just not going to happen. It just isn't going to happen. And the irony is, the higher they push up rates, the less supply comes on the market, because people aren't going to want to give up their low mortgage rates. So it just it actually does the opposite. So the Feds are really screwed, in that scenario. And then they said with the higher rates, bondholders that have, saved up, like the baby boomers, they're all in retirement, they're in bonds, they're getting free money at 5%, maybe 6 or 7% in the future. They're just spending, that's free money. So the Fed is like, it's like almost like a gun that's pointing back at themselves. It's like a gun that they're trying to shoot, but it's shooting themselves. So whatever logic or economic theory they used about higher rates crashes the economy, doesn't take into account our demographic situation and some other, nuances. So perhaps higher rates is actually not what you need, right? Because higher rates gives a lot of the cohort, a lot of the boomers, and even some Gen X that are in these bonds, just like that are like, hey, I made my $1 million. I'm in a 2-year paper or whatever. I'm going to roll 2-year paper. I'm in 10-year. Like they're just getting risk-free money, and they're just spending it. They're just going on trips, and they're spending. It's just pumping the economy. So back when rates were like 1% or 0, bondholders got shit. So they weren't getting nothing. Savers got nothing. So I think the logic. So I think Fed's someone needs to write a new economic paper about the new times, because I think the old times, what they did 90 years ago when they wrote, that shit may not work anymore. And that's what I think we're seeing in the market. But that's all I'm saying. Yeah. So guys, that's all I got. I'm done. I'm out of live stream. I'll check. No more super chats, so I'm good today. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and hopefully, I would expect weakness early in the week, or early, Monday, maybe Tuesday. But then I think we have what? It ended a quarter, right? So that's that window dress. So we'll probably end the quarter strong, is my guess.